Functionally, intelligence, a definition that we could use, is the ability to take multiple perspectives. So more perspectives equals more intelligence. Has anybody heard the story about the 6 blind men and the elephant?
Yeah.
This is like a classic multiple perspective parable. Basically, there's 6 blind men. They're all touching the elephant at different places, locations on the elephant's body. And they're describing to each other what they're touching. They don't know that it's an elephant, of course, because they're blind. So one of them touches the ear, and he's like, oh, this is a fan. One of them touches the trunk, and he goes, oh, it's a snake. You know? One of them touches the side of the elephant. Oh, this is a wall. And so they're all arguing with each other until somebody comes along and says, hey, guys, it's an elephant. And if you can see, not just it's a trunk, it's a fan, it's a wall, and you zoom out, intelligence is the ability to see the whole elephant. So we're born into the world with like basically there may be like subtle levels of conditioning, but for the most part we're a blank slate. Our awareness is undifferentiated at first. As we grow, society downloads its conditioning. We have like cultural programming around what's good and bad, what's right and wrong, political views, sexual views, religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, beliefs about ourselves. This is what you could call the software of society. And I heard it once called, Robert Anton Wilson called this reality tunnels. We get conditioned into this one perspective, and it's our reality tunnel. We see the reality through that tunnel. It doesn't mean we're seeing all of reality. It just means we're seeing through our specific tunnel. Another person, this old mathematician, called it cement in our heads. We have cement in our heads that blocks us from taking the perspectives that we're blocked from. So intelligence is the ability, of course, to gradually over time dissolve that cement, create space in the mind so you can see things from all different ways. And the other thing that happens alongside our programming and our conditioning is that to reinforce our conditioning, humans are the only animals that defend our beliefs and our reality tunnel like we're fighting for our lives, because it's the entire way that we see reality. So you've seen like ESPN First Take, you know, it's like perfect example, or Shaq and Chuck. From last year we showed that video, and it's like so crazy. They're defending their belief with so much intensity. Maybe they're putting on a show for the cameras, but we've all been around people who were so locked into their paradigm that they would get outright hostile if you challenge it. So what we want to do is sort of like opening a joint that's closed in this session, right? Like if your shoulder's tight and it can only maybe move in one direction comfortably, it clicks and pops if you go in this direction. We want to open the joint so it moves fluidly. Fluidity, as you said, Lita, you know, is the ability for the mind to move in any direction. That's intelligence. Cool. There's this story, did anybody read The Fountainhead? Yeah. So, I mean, simple idea. There's a sort of villainous character named Ellsworth Toohey in The Fountainhead. Ellsworth Toohey, when he was a kid, would enter debate competitions, and he'd win the debate from one side, and then he'd invite his opponent to switch sides. So he'd switch and he'd win the debate from the other side. So he was like playing with perspective, basically. And to go back to that like opening a joint analogy, Mason and Jackson have done several times. The goal, once again, is a joint that can move in any range of motion smoothly without pain, right? A joint that's locked has pain in certain ranges of motion, just like a mind that's locked into a perspective experiences pain when it butts up against the edges of that perspective. Like if a belief is questioned and it's deeply held, if you were like, hey, your mom doesn't love you, you're like, whoa, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, it's and the same thing goes like at stage blue, they can often get violent even. So can all of the stages, frankly, especially in tier 1. But when we speak about like intellectual courage, going into the thoughts that hurt, killing the Buddha, killing the most cherished beliefs, that's what this game entails. The developmental game is going into the places that hurt, lighting them up, seeing them clearly, and then integrating a more accurate functional perspective. And paradoxically, on the other side of that pain, you lean into the discomfort and more space is opened up. It's like, you know, getting physical therapy on the shoulder that's locked, or active release or whatever. It hurts while you're doing it, but then afterwards there's all this space and you're like, oh, wow, my mind is like more open now, and my physical body's holding less tension because my mind's more open. And it's on the other side of challenging your beliefs is a more open mind. And that feels better than a closed mind.